pop up in just a second.
Okay.
There he is.
So
Okay.
why want to work on a laptop? I don't understand.
It doesn't let you do the ad on the laptop, or it only works on the mobile.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's kind
on the
of,
mobile.
but all right.
Yeah, feds. But anyway, let's get to it, man. Welcome to One Nation Live post show here for the Mae Young Classic. Uh, what a show! I'm glad I changed my mind today. Woke up this morning, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. This was one of the. This might be an all timer. This might be the biggest undersell, over deliver pay per view in WWE history. They did. I mean, pretty much what they did on this show was give you one match for every show they have. So Raw, you got Nikki and Ronda. Then they pushed that feud hard and very well. Same for SmackDown with the SmackDown Women's Championship between Charlotte and Becky. The NXT Women's title, same thing. Mae Young Classic, same thing. So those four matches were pushed well, but like the ancillary stuff besides that was not. But that's even that stuff came through in a major way. Um, that was not a typical six-person tag match from a TV tag match. That was, you know, a lot of heat built, a lot of extra effort, a lot of creative stuff, a lot of creative blind tags and everything to have kind of like a super finisher type of deal at the end. And that was really successful. I mean, there was really, really only the Sasha weird flipping thing that she didn't let go on because you're not really supposed to let go. But that was also a really good match. I like, what was the worst match for you on it? What would be the opener?
Um, I would probably say the Battle Royal, but
So,
I dug the opener.
I think
I
every single match on this card, as you can tell, as you know by the fact that I was like, lose my mind via messenger. But um, I thought that I thought the battle royal worked really well, and they actually were able to get the feel of a bit Royal Rumble-ish as opposed to Battle Royal-ish, which is like battle royals are normally trash. This was not a trash battle royal.
Yeah, they did a couple things in there. I was just like, okay. Like like once I realized Lunger Brothers wasn't gonna take no bumps, and I kind of like Ivory in it. Um, yeah. Let's see. So let's start at the beginning, man. We had Trish Stratus and Lita against Alicia Fox and Mickey James, and Alicia Fox came out here dressed like a super duper star, like normal. And we called it earlier,
Uh,
like, bro, what was it? It was like Michael. It was like Remember the Time. It was dangerous. It was all that.
yeah, like I was having a hard time trying to figure out if that was more the Beatles Sergeant Pepper or that was more Michael Jackson Dangerous. But I really couldn't get an answer from either one of y'all because that's one of those two American things where like I'm one of the people that has a pretty deep understanding of both as opposed to the other, and that's about it. So nobody can help me in any social suplex a group thread with that one.
Yeah. I know when Trish's music hit, I popped and I felt like it was gonna be a good night from there.
Yeah.
And and I as evidenced by Michelle McCool's theme music, telling you Trish rarity with that era's theme music. But they had a nice back and forth match. Lita's hit her best moonsault that she's hit since she's been back. It wasn't even close to her like saying that us making our jokes that she didn't get over and all that. It wasn't even close. I thought that was really cool. Saw people clowning the fact that she wore the thong out there, but it is what it is. She
I kept
she,
thinking,
she,
I kept thinking of thong jokes, but I couldn't figure out how to do it in a tasteful way without just sounding, bad. So I just left it alone. I just know that thing is as high as it ever been.
yeah,
At
yeah,
first,
and
at,
wide.
at first, I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say. Let's just move on.
Yep. So I enjoyed that match. I liked the showdown between Trish and Mickey throughout it, and I thought Alicia did a really good job too. And don't forget that Alicia Fox has been around years and years and years and years. So this was a reward for her too.
Yeah.
The crowd at Yes Dylan was very hot all night. It was I was saying this earlier before you got in, James, but it was lit up really funny. It was lit like a house show.
Yep.
I don't know why
And then
I don't know why they did
and
that.
then I also noticed the guardrails as opposed to the barricade, which also made me think like, oh,
Right.
they have a low expectation for this thing. And then like lo and behold, they have one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time for WWE.
Look, you know what it tells me? They didn't spend the money like on this show, like as far as production wise.
Yeah, because like they didn't even bring in the typical pay-per-view ramp that's been a pay-per-views and main show ramp that they've had ever since SummerSlam 2016. They even have that out there, so it's kind of that was
It's actually
to
kind
tell
of
that like they're they kind of see it as a house show. And then I remember in my mind I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it. And then Simon, old negative Nancy he is, I was like he went and said, I was like, well, he said it, so I ain't got to say it. So there you go. But
the thing of it looking like a house show, it didn't even like really affect it that bad. It gave it like somewhat a unique feel, which actually like kind of played out throughout the night, which kind of I actually kind of grew to kind of like it by the time Ronda came out. It was like this just feels a little like grimier, a little different,
you know what?
or whatever.
A
What?
takeover.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Sergio, definitely highly recommend you checking out this show. Um,
Sergio is one of the best pay-per-views of all in WWE history. Go watch it. I'm like legitimately like there are 3 matches that I will give 4 stars, and there are 2 matches that I will give like 4.5. So like
so
we have 2 match of the year, legitimate main roster match of the year candidates on this card.
let's see. The second match was the Battle Royal, and that was Nia Jax. James had gone on One Nation Radio or maybe the LOP show and played out that scenario of Nia Jax winning to essentially get another shot at Ronda. I think it also kind of falls in with their plan of not putting Ronda against anybody that will get cheered over her. And that holds it up with Nia Jax. And also, they went to that non-finish last time, and that match was excellent that they had last time. So maybe this is her either December or Royal Rumble opponent.
Yeah. I think December. Like I really do. Like I've been saying for a while now. Like I really do hope they run back what they did last year with the format for some Survivor Series where it's best of 7, made the bragging rights type of deal, and then they have champion versus champion, mid card champ versus mid card champ, woman champ versus woman champ, tag team versus tag team, and then whatever other vanity matches they can fill out the rest of the card with. Now that we got Becky with a match of the year contender, which jumps that into a legitimate feud of the year, moves Becky into actually legitimate wrestler of the year contender. Like
Yeah, she is. She's been on there, and now it looks like she's a threat to win.
Yeah, this is real.
The way this is going.
Like right now, I got her third, but like yeah, this is real. Like I'm really impressed by this pay-per-view. Like this was my biggest fear of this pay-per-view was given like how overstuffed and too much fluff that was in the last 2 WrestleManias that I thought that this was, and given the main event, I thought this was going to be like, and I said this, like my fear is that this is going to be women's WrestleMania, and it's not a compliment. This turned out to be like, this was very much more like very much more like what WWE pay-per-views should be every single month.
Yeah, this felt like it was 2016 all over again.
Yeah, like just didn't get in the way with ridiculous booking. Heels won, and it was okay, and they didn't do something absurd to win, or something that like felt just completely cheap and useless to win. I can't say enough about this pay-per-view. I really love this show.
A little bit more on the Battle Royal. Tamina got some new music and looked good throughout the match. That was probably like the most impressive I've ever seen her look throughout a big match. Ember Moon finally beat Asuka at something.
We made the joke at Royal Rumble that when Asuka eliminated her, it's like, damn, she'll never get a chance to ever even get close to touch her ever.
Yeah, So she was the runner up, and to Naya, they tried to do like a Santino Marella finish with Zelina Vega coming out of nowhere. The smallest woman in the match got thrown. She took a nasty bump, falling off of Tamina and fell on her face
It looked like
on the
Tamina got,
outside.
like hit on the bridge of her nose. It looked bad. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, Michelle McCool actually was like really good in the ring. She did a lot of like cool spots. She wasn't just throwing people out left and right like at the Royal Rumble. So happy about that. Lundra Blaze was in there. She didn't take any bumps, but it was cool to see her out there. Ivory was actually the one that was taking bumps, and Ivory's 56, bro. 56.
Yeah.
Still looks great
Like
for her age.
Think of it like this: she was on Glow. Glow is a retro show right now.
Correct. Like 30 years ago, Ivory was the woman, if you know what I mean. Like, so yeah, man. Like, who else was in the match? They started with the Iconics, and got them out of here quick after,
Yes.
they started with that promo and immediately got shown the door.
Their normal bad promo, which immediately got heat, which immediately got them to where crowd didn't like them because they cut a promo that was meant to get heat, but it actually wasn't even good. So it's like, get them out of here. And sure enough, ejector button. So
Yeah, it was pretty fun, and me saying like I thought it was like the lowest match, like that's not an indictment on it at all. It's just something has to rank like number 6 for me, or 5 or 7.
yeah,
I'm not sure how many.
it was 7 matches.
Yeah, Mandy Rose, yes, yeah, Dave. Mandy Rose definitely did her thing, and of course, when Mandy Rose's music hits, like it just validates me. Like, and when the crowd pops, like that's a theme right there.
Yeah. It connotes Maybach music. It sounds like, I think we said that we agreed upon it should be like the third Ashton Martin music, right?
Yes, that should be Aston Martin music part 3.
Yeah.
Rick Ross, I need him rapping on that Mandy Rose beat. Um, Duncan says he wants to see Michelle McCool versus Charlotte. Miguel says Maria was good too. Maria definitely showed a side of herself we weren't used to.
Oh God, my
And
God. You're an idiot. You are an idiot, sir.
so what was the third match? The third match was, I think that was the Mae Young Classic final, right?
Yes. No.
Okay, Mae Young Classic.
No. Was it that or was it the 6-woman tag?
No, the 6-woman tag was 4th, I believe.
Okay. So then it was a Mae Young Classic then.
Yeah, so the Mae Young Classic final, Tony Storm going over Io Shirai as we kind of predicted, and the Michael Cole kind of laid it out with his random Tegan Knox mention that Tegan Knox was supposed to be in this final against her. So
Yep.
we should have known that Io was here not to win, but she definitely showed up and showed out. So like all that talking of her not being impressive, Dave, we need you to come walk that back, sir.
Well, he already has walked it back because he was like, "This is one of the best match." Like that, he's saying it as a match, main roster match of the year contender. So like,
Yeah.
before he was saying he
Yeah.
was unimpressed with her so far, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll see.
Like, just wait, man. Trust us. Like Jake Roberts, trust me.
Just because they don't have like you're right. It was the third match. Just because they don't have like the greatest match of all time going out every single time in the Mae Young Classic, especially with who she had to work with and how she had to work. Like, don't think that like once she gets in there with somebody else that can tear it up, that she won't also do the same. Like, I feel like that match. I feel like kind of how he feels at the same time about like what match of the night was the best worked match. I feel like it was theirs. It's just that the crowd didn't know them so much, and they didn't actually work and there was no heel face dynamic to rely on like how they had with Kyrie and Shayna. That they were just kind of like didn't know who to root for. So the crowd was kind of throughout the match was kind of not there, but the wrestling was just incredible.
Yeah.
And
Carrie, look, man.
Hey man, like
look,
I don't
look, hey, when you hit the golden trial moonsault,
it's like is actually an enjoyable thing. Like I don't enjoy being trolled. Like he can go somewhere else with that.
yeah, when she hits like a golden trial moonsault, I don't really see like no carrying going on. So, but Tony wins the Mae Young Classic number 2. She also showed up in some incredible gear. Io is like, just an athletic marvel. And I think it kind of speaks to what we were saying in the preview, that like Io can just go to NXT. Now she doesn't have the pressure of quote unquote being the Mae Young Classic winner, which is I think a pitfall of kind of what Kyrie's saying. She got off kind of a slow start in NXT, and it took her a while, but she's finally getting there essentially. After that, we had Triple H and Stephanie came out, and I didn't know what version of them it was. Does anybody know like what version of Triple H and Stephanie this was?
I didn't even bother guessing. I was like, look, this is Dana White Triple H. I knew that much. So
Yeah. Um, it's funny. Like,
do you think,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we'll find out. But do you think Vince actually helmed this show, or do you think this is a Triple H special?
There's got to be a Triple H special.
I mean, because it was so straightforward, stripped down. I mean, they did the promo stuff they needed to do or whatever else, but there was no backstage scene with someone doing something wacky or going to the back for some unnecessary reason to kill time. Like this was very, there was really nothing that was like unnecessary on this show. And
yeah,
every match got the time it needed.
They did. I could have went for a couple more minutes on the Mae Young Classic final. What's up, Kiki? She said that was Proud Mom and Dad, Triple H and Stephanie. Perfect.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
They did throw to the video packages after every match, like about how important the show was. I think that's the only thing they did to kind of like eat some time.
But at least that served a purpose, letting you know like there's a reason why we're doing this show, and like it wasn't just some. I felt that was more earnest and heartfelt than like just filler. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I felt.
So Dave said he can't help but think Io is going to help Kyrie with the horsewomen. I think that could be something that happens. Maybe they can enlist, also Miko Satomura, seeing how they flew Miko to yeah, your eyes lit up. That was my idea. I was like, when I was writing in the thread, I was like, it looked like Kyrie saying gonna need some friends. So if what's her name, Jessamine and Marina want to jump up and get Buck,
Marina Shafir, yeah. I think
they want to jump up and get Buck. She got some friends.
Okay, so what do you make of the fact that they had, the NXT women that they had there on the side? I believe that's Lacey Evans. That was Bianca Belair. I couldn't see who else it was.
I saw Candice.
Yeah,
Candice was there.
Right, because Candice had to sit next to the two horsewomen, and she was out here making like all of the stank faces. Like she remembers that Mae Young Classic match last year when Shannon took liberties with her. Like I love that. Like so I wonder like maybe that's Calvary, but yeah, I can definitely see the Shirai thing because like maybe they do women's war games. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Like maybe like they do their own Japanese 4 horsewomen and they get Asuka involved too, so and then they could bring Ronda, to team up with the other horse ladies and get it rocking. So tell you it'd be just gang wars all over again, like it's 1997, and get the real 4 horsewomen against and have three groups, just like Los Boricuas and the DOA and who else? There was one more, the Nation. But yeah, it was nice of them to fly all of them there, but I didn't really see the point for the rest of them. But oh well. Let me see. After that, oh yeah, we had the NXT. We had the 6-woman match with Sasha and Bayley and Natalya against the Riot Squad. Sasha Banks, I feel like no question came through with the number 1 gear of the night. Like I don't know what the fuck that was, but like Mikaze, I think her husband's name is, and he's the guy that like makes all her outfits. He will never let her lose. I swear to God.
Yeah, he is just like
brilliant.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think who best gear of the night. I mean, obviously it's Sasha, but I'm trying to think who came in second. Like I was really into the Toni Storm's
gear, Charlotte's gear.
Charlotte's gear.
I like Charlotte's.
I thought the Charlotte gear was gonna be more translucent, but like it still worked with the gold and then the translucent like lining on it. That was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. I mean,
I didn't really catch a lot of the battle royal ones. Yeah, he does. He does know what's up. His wife got to look the best. I like Bailey. Hers was kind of like a spin on Sasha's
yes.
a little bit, but some of the stars are like too big and goofy. Like they're too big and goofy. It's like I'm good. Like, I like Kairi Sane. She had the white and pink, and also Shayna too. She had like a silver and black type deal.
Yes, I liked her deal. I think the Kyrie thing, it was just maybe either it was the exact same stuff or it just looked so similar to the Brooklyn 4 gear that I was just like, oh, okay, like she came out with good gear again. So that's what I kind of left it at.
Yeah. So like Sasha will not lose out here in these streets, but NXT Women's Title match, we got Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane. I actually alluded to it earlier. Said, "Hey, Rich, take out that hearing aid." What are you talking about, bro? They had I mentioned it. It seems like Kairi Sane always beats Shayna in these big matches, and I said I wasn't ruling it out, but they switched the belt. And it looks like there's like a new faction in NXT, and I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, like I'm totally here for it because I would love to see like those 3 women like like go face to face with Undisputed Era and them all being taller than them and then whoop their ass. That's what I want. That's what I really want to see. Those tiny geeks. Like, look, they all have to be hiding behind Kyle O'Reilly and be like, please don't let him hurt us. Please don't let him hurt us.
Oh, man, because he's the shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, so the NXT match, I thought that this was the best match as far as getting people's emotions let me phrase it. If you were looking for a textbook example of people don't know who you are, but you go into the ring and then you do what you need to do to get the crowd to react to what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish. I thought that Shayna's job as a heel and Kairi as a baby face, working from underneath and being in peril and being hurt and selling her ass off, I thought that this was a masterclass in psychology. They killed it. I thought that this match, as far as the work that was done in the ring, the emotion they got across, I thought this was like one of the best matches of the year, men or women, main roster or below. Like the work that Shayna did on her arm and the stuff and the fire that Kairi had coming back. Like, if people want to say, I mean, and there's always been the case, even years back in Stardom. If people want to make the case that Kairi is actually better than EO, I can't say you're wrong based off of the understanding that part of a match. Like, granted, I haven't seen that many EO matches, but almost every single time I've ever seen Kairi in a match, you get over the emotion. She understands it. You get and feel the emotion and fire from her and how much she wants it. I just love that woman to death. And
like, she connects really well.
Yes, I don't know
like in a way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Like and with EO, like I don't know if that's just a limited like EO is so spectacular. It's like she might not necessarily connect with you because like she's this type of athlete or whatever. But Kairi's kind of like every woman in a sense.
Yeah, like she just. I think maybe. I think maybe she right now anyway. Now that Johnny has turned heel, like. She's my top. She is now my one as far as like. James Boyd needs a white meat baby face to love and to stand for. And now that like Daniel Bryan is, I'm still there with Daniel Bryan. I still love Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan is not being booked as well as he was in the past. Obviously, Sami Zayn, they booked like shit ever since he got to the main roster. Yeah. Even though he had, he was arguably the best wrestler in 2016, or not arguably, but after AJ Styles. Same ditto goes for Johnny. Johnny, he's had a great year this year or whatever else, but they just turned him heel. Like Kairi is what we have right now that's going. She's the best baby face in the company right now. That's how I feel. Any arguments?
I had to think about that. I'd have to think about it. Because I think Rollins is really great as a babyface.
He
Uh,
is. I
Um,
don't think if people don't know who he is and know his story and know have all the years with him and like the Shield stuff and the Dean Ambrose stuff to get him over last year. Like, remember we were just talking about WrestleMania 33 and after that how much he struggled until the Dean Ambrose thing. Like, Kyrie just comes out and just wrestles and you feel her.
right. And I think Dan O'Brien, like, the deal is like the booking, and then it's a really like weird situation like with him. So I don't know. I had to think about it, but I thought the match was awesome. I'm definitely down with Shayna Baszler and them finally introducing the Horsewomen like on TV. I've seen them in the Largo House shows. They're more than like competent. And what's her name? Jessamine Duke is like really tall,
Yeah,
so she's like a bully. Marina
always.
Shafir can take the pinfalls. Like Maria can take the pinfalls for them, and then Shayna can be like that final boss or whatever. Um, yeah, so I'm Shayna Baszler, the first ever two-time NXT Women's Champion, which is kind of incredible.
Yeah. Is
Um,
she the
eh,
Was she the first ever two-time NXT Women's Champion?
yep, yep. So and just like Samoa Joe was the first two-time NXT Men's Champion,
Yeah.
so I can see her career in which way it's heading. So. But yeah, I fucked with that match heavy. I think I at least gave that a 4. I would have to go and write everything out on paper, but this man Josh is trying to call me
Ah,
in
that's
the
fine.
middle of this shit. L,
Yeah.
no, tune in, tune in. Um, then the fifth match, what was that?
The fifth
Oh,
match
that
was
that
Baszler
was
and
the fifth
Kyrie.
match.
Yeah, so the sixth
Yep,
match. Hey,
an
hey,
all time
notice,
an
hey,
all time
notice how there
classic.
was. Hey, notice how there wasn't a palate cleanser. Notice how there wasn't just a match you
Yeah.
throw out there to die to kill the crowd and then hope that your main event like saves it. Notice that?
Yes,
Amazing how
I
that
did,
works.
and I actually wrote this to a buddy of ours that is adamant that you need a palate cleanser. No, man, no promotion in the world does this except WWE. And if you have two matches that people want to see that deliver, you don't have to worry about those things.
Yeah,
Maybe if they actually put on stuff people wanted to see, they wouldn't have to worry about that stuff.
yeah,
But tonight was an example of them working. Now, and this goes even better if they flip the matches and Charlotte and Becky goes on last with that match that they had, which is their answer to Sasha versus Bayley in Brooklyn. Like, them two finally got them one.
yeah. I didn't really think about it like that until you just mentioned, but like the fact that they're the other two horsewomen, and they got that done, and yeah, man, that's a hell of a match. Like they went 28 minutes, 29 minutes, like, and all of it worked. I just, like this is. I'm so
This
happy
was
for
the
both.
main event.
I'm so happy for Becky. Like Becky has been like the last, since SummerSlam, she has been the best wrestler in the company. Like as far as if you include all the things she has been that since then, like she literally, as she like everything she said, she has been the man. So I'm really happy that she was able to, go on with the match she had at Hell in a Cell to go along with the match she had at Super Showdown, and it had the whack finish or whatever else, and then the rematch immediately after. In this, like, this is one of the, I mean, by hook or by crook, and mostly by crook, like this has turned into like one of the best feuds of the year, maybe the best feud of the year, and I'm just really happy for both of them because like they had
Yeah.
Becky on the sideline for so long, and we always thought it was all these assumptions of they think she has more, they probably think that she can't cut a promo because Vince doesn't like people accents, and Vince probably thinks she has marbles in her mouth. Turns out like, oh yeah, she's one of the best promos in the company now. Like I'm so happy about all this. Like I love this show so much. I can't keep saying this over and over again, but I can't stop saying it. Like I love this show so much. Like I'm almost like giddy about this experience.
And then they put over the right person for the crowd to go home happy. They like Charlotte is really interesting with her now. Where she goes now, who knows? For me, this would have been a perfect time to debut Shayna Baszler in the main roster to take Charlotte away from the title picture and give her something else. But I don't think that's going to happen. But Becky, BPE, you know, she
Oh my
she
God.
she came out there and bro, like that crowd loved her. They booed the shit out of Charlotte out here, and
Well, when,
it
when you're
like
when you're the man, you tend to get cheered.
yeah,
She's just the hottest thing going right now. Like in the words of Young Joe from 2006, she's the best thing smoking going on right now. So I'm I am very happy that somebody got over. And then you can't even say it like organically because obviously there's so much stuff that the company does, and sometimes like things fall through the cracks. Like I seriously think that like that win streak that she got was probably by accident, and then they did this whole thing, and then they didn't realize that like how much people actually liked Becky on the low, and then it got her over. And they fucked around, she kept getting over, and then they wanted to shoot this turn, but they didn't realize how over she was, and now it kept snowballing because they kept trying to, you know, they first tried to turn her heel, then it didn't work. Then they were like, we're gonna make her a heel, but like she's not gonna shit on the fans, and she's getting more and more over by being mean, more and more of a dick to everybody around her, and like now this is where we are.
yeah. Dave said it's nice to hear James be positive about something. Kiki says I'm glad Becky was able to win a first ever type of match. Yeah, because Becky was in the Money in the Bank and she lost.
Yeah,
I think James is a lot
that's
more
right.
positive about
Ellsworth.
stuff. I, I think out of the two of us, James definitely has the positivity. Shane, I yeah, I'm the one that just sees through like whatever the fuck they're trying to do. I'm like, look, this is what they're doing. This is why they're doing it. This is
Yeah,
that's me.
yeah. I don't really know what Finishel's talking about because like he harassed me every single week during the Mae Young Class, talking about how much these women aren't that damn good, and then meanwhile I'm telling you you're tripping, you're tripping, you're tripping, and then sure enough, like now it's 180 once they have a classic on the main roster. It's like, oh, okay, but I'm the one that's negative, right? Okay, like
So Miguel,
Rich,
go.
when was the since I came back to watching WWE, right? Have I said there was have I like shed on any of the pay per views since then? Everybody said all the pay per views
The
so
main
far.
um
SummerSlam.
I think you like
I
SummerSlam.
did.
Uh you I don't know. I thought you hated the main event at SummerSlam, but we all did.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, not SummerSlam's Hell in a
Hell
Cell.
in a Cell and SummerSlam
But
had shitty main events, but the pay per views were good.
yeah. Yeah. Um so Miguel said we might see someone from Raw jump ship and fight Becky now. I'm really hoping that we get a Becky and Ronda match and they take the training wheels off of Ronda, like in
Yeah.
as far as like the opponents they put her against, like so because there's a lot of like put her against a giant, put her against a part timer. There's a lot of that going on right now with her, and
And another
so that
and another part about it is if they do what they did last year with the champion versus champion gimmick, Becky goes into it. Becky can go out there and have a really good match with Ronda, and Becky can lose, and it's okay because Becky has beaten Charlotte clean 2 times in the last 3 pay-per-views, or yeah, 3 pay-per-views. So, and this wasn't like one of those heel wins in last man standing match where somebody crashed through a table and they can't get up. She power bombed her ass through the tape or off the apron through the table on the floor and won. This wasn't an escape.
she
This is
beat
me.
her ass. She beat her ass. Even in the ref was trying to cheat. Charlotte lost that match twice.
Yes, that's right. When she was buried under that stuff, and Kyoto was like, "Oh yeah, she's up." Was like, "Where? Where do you see her feet to be able to tell that to make that distinction?"
Yeah. So Dave says Bailey is the perfect person to jump to SmackDown because she can be squashed. I just don't think they're doing any brand switches, so I wouldn't even like worry about that.
That I don't think that's happening until WrestleMania or after WrestleMania.
um, So Miguel says he thinks we get Ronda versus Nia at the next pay-per-view. It depends. We're going to see how they book Survivor Series as far as like if it's a brand versus brand thing. But I definitely wouldn't rule it out for the December pay-per-view
Yeah.
or possibly even the Royal Rumble.
You think they can hold it off that long?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the December pay-per-view.
Yeah, 'cause I mean that's one of the things that made me so like I'm not in on this, like I'm not in on doing this Ambrose heel turn right now because depending on the whatever the format for this next pay per view, they might not touch for 7 weeks. They might have a match for 7 weeks, and this gonna be a one of these C pay per views. Like it's not gonna be WrestleMania, it's not gonna be SummerSlam, it's not even gonna be Money in the Bank. Like this is gonna be TLC.
Yeah. Dave said he enjoyed how Charlotte ad-libbed the swanton through the table after the moonsault botch. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like, and someone made a point of why this happened to Charlotte. She's a person that tries to land on her feet on moonsaults,
yeah.
and that's her entire problem when she
Well,
does a moonsault. She just won't take it like as a flat bump.
Well, I think the main thing was that she jumped out further than she thought she would than she needed. She jumped out further than she needed to land. So instead of landing flush right across Becky, she ended up landing like further out. So then that's how the table tilted back like this because her weight hit her on most of that side of the back side of the table. So it ended up going like so. So when she did the other way, like she more or less landed flush, and because Charlotte is because of her height, she's so she weighs more than the average woman. It finally broke through. So I'm glad they broke the table because when tables don't break in matches, those are just one of those,
I am the table.
yeah, I am the table, botchamania. We're gonna clown you, and people want to see tables broken, so go break that table. What about the leg drop
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, bro. Becky, and I texted this. Becky Lynch took her unathletic ass up the ladder, and then this was Jimmy Snuka jumping off the cage in New York in the Garden. She leg dropped Charlotte through the table like the Undertaker did Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1998, and that could have been the finish. I liked it.
Yes. Do we call that the subatomic leg drop?
Look, Becky Lynch on the list, the unathletic great wrestler list.
Yeah, she
Um,
damn sure outdid Hogan on that one. Hogan ain't never even dared to come off a rope with a leg drop, let alone let alone jump off a ladder through a table on somebody.
so Kiki asks, do you think the trigger will be pulled on the four horsewomen versus four horsewomen for Survivor Series, given that Ronda and Becky are the respective champions of their brands? I mean, I think it might be a little early to go to it.
I think you can still.
Especially
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
like them being the champions. I think there's so much in Becky Lynch as a solo act right now. She doesn't need to be watered down like essentially by anyone. Like and also they just had a last woman standing match. It would really suck to see them just made up as partners again, Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah. Um, I think that I think if it's gonna ever happen, it's not gonna be this year. It's gonna be next year or the year after. I think it's too close. And there's too much there's too many things going on storyline wise to get in the way of doing that because if you do that, then you have to move Shayna and the two other horsewomen, Marina and Jessamine up
Justin.
there, and they never even and they've never even had a match on NXT. Like that's a little bit too much too soon. But like I think once you get the new horsewomen through a proper cycle of NXT, then they'll be ready to do that. And by that point in time, you might be ready to turn Ronda heel because I mean eventually like the bloom is gonna fall off of that rose.
We saw some of it in the main event, which we'll get to next. Miguel says, did anyone notice the ref kicking the chair away from Becky while Charlotte was in the figure four? He actually kicked the chair to Becky.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Also, before we just move off from this match, I know we talked about it before, but like I think this is probably. I mean, I have to go back and watch that Miz and Ronda's match that you raved about. or from earlier in the year when I wasn't watching because it was my discuss for WrestleMania 34. But yeah, like and what they did to Roman. But like I think that this is the main roster match of the year.
It's definitely like I wrote it down already on the
Worst,
list, and I think it's gonna do
worst case scenario
it's
is
gonna do
top three.
very well.
Worst case scenario is top three this year.
Yeah, it's gonna do very well. And then our main event of the night, Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella, the diva versus the real athlete. And the win. And I saw this on Twitter. The girls and the gays were here for Nikki. Like that was all the Nikki Bella chants. Like that was in the building, and it was the dudes and everyone cheering for Ronda. So uh, match started kind of slow, kind of
Kind
just
of,
well,
kind of.
just like it was bad. Like like I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they had to resort immediately to the cheating and the bashing Ronda into the posts and Brie Bella jumping in with the foolishness. A lot of smoke and mirrors in this match. I was wondering where Ronda's homegirls were that were just there the match before, but never mind that.
Well,
Um,
when after Shayna won, they went to the back with Shayna, didn't they?
yeah,
Okay, maybe I guess that explains it.
yeah. But what do you think of this match?
It's a tale of two matches. Like the match didn't get going until they got the heat stuff with Brie doing all the cheating because, of course. So I thought this match was I guess for lack of a better word, an Alexa Bliss special for the first half, and then they got the heat, and then they started actually going. Like they are so. This is so far because I'm just based off of the last Alexa Bliss match that Ronda had. Like they are over relying on the fact that Ronda is a very good seller, even for someone is a great seller, even for someone this young into the game. And just because she's a great seller does not mean that you need her selling like that at the beginning of a match. Like it was completely just. There's a thing of the believability factor that still is in the way of Ronda. Like people look at Ronda like she's a wrestler. They look at her as she is a person that is doing wrestling but she is a legit woman. So when she's in there with someone like Alexa or someone like Nikki or someone that doesn't have any type of background in any type of fight game, or is someone that is viewed as
A great wrestler.
a top wrestler, I think that people just aren't buying it. Are just sitting on their hands, not buying anything. Like, okay, like when does the match really start? When they actually start doing stuff, because this is completely, wholly unbelievable. Um,
And you know what match didn't have that feeling? The Nia Jax match, and that's because of the physical nature of it.
yes,
And
yes,
you don't get that physical nature from the last couple people matchups that she's had.
right, absolutely. Like you look at that Nia match, and it's like you believe Nia, even though Nia is like nicest woman on earth, seemingly, like she is so believable that given that the size difference, that like Nia can hold her own against Ronda. Alexa, absolutely not. And they even use the ribs thing, which even people wasn't buying the ribs thing. But maybe maybe
So Dave,
maybe if there was an injury to sell, or she could have still sold the ribs, maybe that was been more believable for Nikki. People just like not people just weren't buying it.
so Miguel said, I thought we were gonna have a Goldberg versus Brock Survivor Series in this match. Dave said, what would have allowed them to get out of the blocks more quickly? A palate cleanser. I disagree wholeheartedly because a palate cleanser is for the crowd. The crowd was into it the whole time. They were into it during the entrances. They were into it during the introductions. That's a palate cleanser. Like you don't even need one. Like,
And also the reason, and also like if you give your main event enough time and if you work it right, the palate cleanser is the beginning of the match. The problem is they worked so slow throughout the match and was clunky getting into the heat that it wasn't just the palate cleanser deal. It wasn't that. It wasn't a situation where a main event goes long and then like it works through that. It gets people interested at the end, or the quote unquote a la Randy Orton lengthy match. It wasn't that. It was this is kind of like they're working underwater right now. And then they finally stepped
yeah.
into it and actually started doing stuff. And also, it's not believable for Ronda Rousey to be selling for a woman that she could clearly whoop her, for someone that she could clearly whoop her ass. That's going to be a problem if they keep continuing to do this, because Ronda is
They're
not
afraid.
Ronda is not the experienced worker that can work from underneath like that for that long. At least not yet. I mean, it's remains to be seen if it'll get there, but like it's just not there yet. So she's gonna have to go out there and learn. But that's what the house shows are for, not for the shows that are gonna you're selling up for pay per view or on TV for people. That's gonna like lessen their impression and the impact of how awesome she is if she's out here doing this sort of thing.
And with her selling for the lesser wrestlers that are women, that like shouldn't happen. Like we don't need to see that. If she's selling for anyone, it needs to be for the great wrestlers contributing to a great match. It just like creates like a weird situation when it's like, all right, I don't believe any of this, and I didn't believe a great portion of this match,
Yeah,
and it was just like it was just happening.
like imagine going to the whole of or starting the match on in a whole of one. You Ronda's only had like Ronda hasn't even had 20 matches yet. Nikki hasn't had 20 matches in the last 3 years, and then you're already behind that kind of eight ball, and then it's like okay, like they practice the match, so they should be fine. But it's like oh, so then we're also gonna like I don't want to say tank, but like they put no effort, they put very little effort into the first half of that match, so it's like all right, you're just really putting yourself behind and to try to. I mean, obviously. The second half of that match was so good that it kind of overturned it, sort of thing. What were you to give this match on star rating?
I would have probably ended up with like a 2.75 or a 3.
That's where I was at. I was at like a three, but I didn't feel. That's what I felt. I was like, it got to a three. Like the crowd was really into like the last, 4 minutes. Like about the time when she made her comeback, people got into it, and then they started the near falls, and I was like, okay, people were really into it now.
Miguel says he heard Ronda calling spots. Yeah, I heard the big "you ready"
Yeah,
when
like yeah,
um, so Dave said he says he thinks the male is cheering for Rousey is a good sign that she's going to be able to stay face for a while. I wouldn't fall in love with that because look who she's going against. Like they weren't going to cheer for Nikki Bella. Like
oh.
now, if she goes in there with Becky Lynch, that's a test. If she goes in there with Sasha Banks, that's a test of her getting cheered for.
I tell you right now, she goes into a pay per view against Becky Lynch. She's not getting cheered like that. So like the people they have picked her to go against, and Rich has mentioned this before.
It's been
Have been
strategic.
have been like they want her to get cheered, so they made sure to protect her by not having her go against people that will get her booed, and they've done a good job with that. And like this is the best. This is like success of the year so far, like the Ronda thing. Or I mean, might be this pay per view, but yeah, my point is like
Eventually,
Every Ronda big match, except for the last match, has been a match that you could be proud of.
eventually, people are going to catch on to that. Like, because, us being, just watching the shit like we do, like, we'll figure this shit out right now, but let them, like, just keep going with this. And then all of a sudden, you're going to get people, like, openly wondering, well, why can't Sasha Banks get, like, close to the belt at all? Why can't Ember Moon get a look? Why can't Bailey get a look at the belt? And you keep taking her around the loop, all these like either sorry wrestlers or people that folks just hate, like Nikki Bella.
Yeah,
People are gonna figure it out,
yeah,
like what they're doing, and I think that was like a lot of what derailed Roman Reigns at the time was people like just kept figuring it out why they were putting him in the ring with certain people, like gender, like stuff like that, like what happened to him this year. Like all those times he had a feud with the Big Show and stuff like that.
yeah. Sheamus.
So Sheamus, exactly. Um, so Miguel says the arm bar from the top rope was a dope finish.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So what was I going to say to you about Ronda? I've already lost my train of thought. Sorry. Go ahead.
Dave says he thinks he just needs to get her to Mania. I think Rousey versus Becky is a lot for Mania. I do not. I don't at all.
I don't.
This is all leading to Charlotte versus Ronda.
Yeah, like if you told me she's gonna wrestle a non part timer they pull out from out of their ass, like it's still gonna be Charlotte. Like Charlotte eventually, like granted, now that she's lost his title, like and they move her out of the title picture, and we're only a couple months away. We're only like 3 months away from Royal Rumble. Like there's no reason to assume that Charlotte won't win this Rumble, and then immediately move to Raw to challenge Ronda.
Yep.
And I'd be
if we're lucky.
Charlotte's awesome. I mean, and granted, she's been over pushed, but like she's also been awesome while being over pushed.
Like she's been over pushed, but they're gonna have to figure out this crowd stuff because people ain't gonna forget this feud. Like and how Charlotte like looks right now. Like people ain't gonna forget this.
Yeah. I will say this though, like now that she's had a chance to cool, she's like the block is hot. Like she's got chances are she's moved off from this. Like she has a chance to cool down and not feel like she's always in always in the movies, always stealing shine. So
Always in the video
yeah, so I think dancing. So
dancing. Yes.
I really think there's a chance that that she can win the Rumble. And then, what's the worst case scenario is people get behind Ronda instead of cheering Charlotte. Would that be the worst thing in the world for WrestleMania 35? Because I don't think it would be. Like as long as they can go into that show and have this match and one of them gets cheered and the other one gets booed, fine.
Yeah. So, overall, I think this is an unmitigated success, and I'm glad I made the decision to watch it. Originally, I was not going to, as I mentioned at the top of this show, and it was like, all right, yes, I'm pissed about Sasha Banks being in a 6-woman tag, and when Michael Cole introduced her, he introduced her as the woman that is responsible for all this and all that, and it was just like, I kind of feel you, Cole. And I felt like the crowd wanted to go crazy for the whole night, but overall, it was like they did so many different things that just worked. And it's like, why can't all the pay-per-views be like this? Because they easily can.
Yeah.
So Sergio says Rousey is very impressive. I don't want to take that away, but she doesn't have that awe factor like she did during WrestleMania.
Wanna know why?
Why?
What was she not doing in WrestleMania?
Selling
all the damn time. Like
yeah.
It's almost as if like they did the Nia match and she was so terrific at selling and feeling like she was in peril and hurt and that match was such a success that they were like, let's try to replicate this, and it's like, no, like it worked because it's her and it's her. It's not because it's her and it's them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, for me, Ronda versus Charlotte should be the main event of WrestleMania. If Roman isn't going to be back, I mean, he may come back. We don't know what his situation is, but if he's not coming back, the top star in the company right now is Ronda Rousey. So, and you left WrestleMania last year, and the biggest successes of WrestleMania last year were Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, and then the 2 days later they decided to fuck off with that with the cash in, but whatever. Like, move on. You have start over a whole year from now and get ready because like she's been the biggest success of the year. She's the biggest star you have. You just did Evolution. It was a flying success. People are gonna rave about this thing. The word mouth's gonna get back. So there you go. Move on. Your top star is Ronda Rousey. Keep protecting her, and everything should be smooth sailing from this point forward. I mean, you already got the TV deals.
I think if you can, I think that's WWE could fully go with that, with Ronda and Charlotte, and we saw that coming essentially from WrestleMania 34. I think you could also look at Rollins and Ambrose, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold that off, unless they got something that we don't have planned. I could fully see this being what James said, the success that it was, it happening. Do I want to see it? I don't know, because the Rousey matches could be hit and miss. But let's see what else they got. So Kiki says this show was definitely better than I thought it was going to be. Dave says I think they're doing a good job of making her viable long term. Not selling all the time, has a shelf life, and that runs out quickly.
Okay, I'm not saying she should know. I'm not saying she should know. So like she's like before 1994 Undertaker. I'm saying don't sell for that much of a match. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that she shouldn't be going 50-50 with the other women. I'm saying she should probably go 75-25, and the 25 she sells when she does the real selling, and it shouldn't be the very beginning of the match. It should be in the middle of the match. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying she should just basically shoot on women. Nah.
Sexy star.
Oh,
Yeah. So Miguel says he thinks he should pull the trigger on it. Pronouns. Pull the trigger on what? Maybe Ronda being the main event. He said. Finisho said, I think the show tonight is an eye opener for the WWE brass. Yeah, I do too, because now they're looking around like, well, what else we got?
I don't.
And it ain't.
Is it an eye opener for the WWE brass, or is it an eye opener for Vince if Vince was even there?
Bro, I don't even think Vince was there.
Yeah, I mean, like there were no screwy, ridiculous, cheap finishes or finishes that piss you off or like won't be paid off for forever. Like so, no, like this was not a typical WWE like booking night. Like this was very much like this is very much we're booking and like the fans and every decision is something the fans can respect.
Yeah, and I think that like was like an intention. Like they knew they couldn't fuck off. Like because like people were ready to come out here and give this show the business the second it wasn't on point. And if you put over all the right people that everyone wants to see, it's kind of hard to fuck it up. Right?
Yeah, and also like there might be some of the element of the fact that this is like a one-off for the year at least, like or maybe this turns to an annual thing because of the success of it, or the raging success of it. But because this was more or less women's WrestleMania, or this was the biggest show for the women all year, like there was an effort level on this card that is not put into every single pay-per-view, as far as in the ring, as far as the effort in the ring, given the amount of time that was given for each match. Like this was just very well done, and it's almost like you look at some of these, very good matches that the AJ Styles Skills turns in, or these very good matches that, for example, someone like The Miz has, or whatever. But like they're just not all the way there. Like it makes me feel like what is missing in these matches that someone like AJ Styles has at all times, like always going to have a certain level of a near 4-star caliber match no matter what, unless the booking gets in the way. Maybe it's just the booking. I don't know. Because the booking has done a lot of like damage to the ends of these Styles matches because they're not like you get raving out of your seat. You're more or less like, oh, he decided to hit someone under the steel chair. Oh, he clearly just lost the title, but like the ref didn't see it. Oh, they just double dick kicked each other in this double down.
Yeah. So I guess one question remains, James. Should they fire all the men and just go with women's wrestling entertainment now?
I would say no to that. Given that just because they had a great show does not mean they're going to start booking people better in the long term.
Correct.
So
because they still got to get to those shows.
Like if the television booking was even matched half of even a quarter of the quality of this, then yeah, sure, why not fire all of them? Like it'll cost you. I mean, you're paying a woman less money anyway, so I'm sure, and you already got your TV deal, so I'm sure like the quality of the product's still gonna be there. Yeah, and y'all are underpaying your female talent compared to the men anyway. So yeah, I mean that'd be the value go, right? But
bro, they're getting double underpaid. Like the men's wrestlers are underpaid too.
Yeah. So like if that's the case, then yeah. But like in realistically, like what was the last pay-per-view that was this good on the main roster?
The Royal Rumble 2018. Like, depends how you feel. Like, it's either this or Evolution for the pay-per-view of the year.
I don't think Royal Rumble is top to bottom as good as this show.
All right. The case for Royal Rumble. You have the greatest Royal Rumble to ever happen. You have another great Royal Rumble of this decade happen the same night. You set off a wave of energy that essentially carries you to WrestleMania.
But I'm not talking. I'm talking about the long-term ramifications or the short-term ramifications of the match, which let you decide for WrestleMania, which ultimately disappointed you. I'm saying just top to bottom, what was the better card? What had the better wrestling? Like what was that pay-per-view that had this amount of good wrestling on the main roster?
Not a good else on the main roster. I think we're gonna have to go back to
31.
No Mercy, Great Balls of
Oh
Fire.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It's been a minute.
I don't know. Miguel says, "Do you think this was a test to see if the women can have their own weekly show?" I mean, at this point, there's no reason they shouldn't. Like,
I think what they're doing is they're having the male capacity to be to be basically like the stopgap between actually fully going into having a weekly woman show and not having one.
I just,
They put that out there, and I mean it's getting washed at the rate of almost like normal proper NXT. So I mean it's clearly there's something there.
yeah, there's something there. Whether it needs to be like the women's match of the week, they can just air like something. Like I don't know if they necessarily need their own show, like because they're stars on the regular show. Like you don't need to just siphon them off somewhere else. But maybe there's something that they do like a pre-tape match between like, and it's a deal where it can be anyone for any brand, and it could almost be like a mixed match challenge, like in a sense, like where it's like taped somewhere else, but they play it at a certain time, and it's like, yeah, this is like the women's main event match of the week essentially, and there's like 2 or 3 matches.
Yeah, I also have real concerns about the continuity, for lack of a better word. Like
Yes.
like I mean anybody that watches 205 live and the stuff when they were still on Raw, like the matches that were on Raw, and then the matches and then transfers over to the 205 live universe, like it wasn't exactly a hand and glove fit as far as the storylines and what they were trying to get across from one show to the next. So I'm not really all that sure how that would work, because if they do a woman show, unless I'm assuming it would be I mean, obviously you can do pre-tape, but there's also the option of doing Full Sail. Um, and if you do Full Sail, then like that has to be a Triple H joint. And trying to do a Triple H joint and then have to do the wacky stuff that Vince wants to do, there's gonna be a clash there.
Yeah.
And you also can, and
So
also I don't think it's necessarily a good look to be having Vince or Triple H upstaging him, upstaging him like
again,
that, because egos.
yeah. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the show. Probably will watch some of this stuff back, and I rarely watch stuff back. I'm definitely gonna, we got our Rebecca whoop that trick, essentially. And she came out there and bro, like they had a classic match, and I'm glad they finally got. I'm glad this is Becky's best match since NXT Takeover Unstoppable,
Um,
and
I think that this is her best match, period. And obviously, there's WrestleMania 32, the main event of WrestleMania 32. Don't let that other 2 hours of bullshit fool you. Um, and
yeah,
I don't, and even the match with
at all.
Sasha and the 4-way with the horsewomen. Like, I still think that this match. I mean, I'd probably have to go back because it's been so long since I watched either one of those NXT matches, but I feel like those two matches didn't have me like in the same kind of pocket.
Yeah. Kiki said Becky did not come to play. She did not come to. She didn't
At all.
at all.
The, yeah,
At all.
not at all.
Yeah, they have to do Ronda and Becky at some point. I don't know if it's going to be WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to be WrestleMania, but I'm here for it. I want to see it. I want to see the armbar versus the armbar. I want to see Becky Lynch selling out. I want to see all that shit. Like,
This and we talked about this
full BPE.
Did we talk about this on LOP about like how awesome it would be for if they do the format that they did last year with Raw vs SmackDown, and you can have, or no, this was today actually. You can have Becky versus Ronda, and then all they're doing is doing promos back and forth to each other. How awesome would be the next 3 weeks leading up to Survivor Series? How awesome that would be! I would love.
I think that was earlier today.
Yeah, so I just please, please do this. Please do this. Like, and Becky can lose. It'd be perfectly fine with Becky losing this thing. Like, she just beat Charlotte twice, and she's gonna still be the champ losing that match. Like, no one's gonna be tripping like that, or should anyway.
Yeah. But anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this bitch up?
Yeah. Crown Jewel is on Friday, right?
Friday.
Top that. Tell him to top that.
Yeah, yeah. Shawn Michaels, with the gimmick on his head, kind of like mine, but not really. His joint is just stops like right here or
Oh
whatever.
my God.
You know, his gimmick stops right there. You know, you got the Brothers of Destruction and all that. Duncan said he's telling you that Tony and Miko Satomura match was my favorite female match in ring, technical, so many spots in the ring with high flying and hard hitting moves. Yeah, man,
Oh yeah, it's up there too.
it's real.
Yeah, like I think at worst it's the second best Mae Young Classic match of all time. And it may be the first. I just have to go back and watch the back to back with Miko and her and Miko and Mercedes. So, but either way,
Yeah,
Miko's in the conversation. Miko is the in 1 year run and there's been repeat performers including someone as great as Tony Storm. Miko is the greatest Mae Young Classic performer of all time.
yeah. She was the MVP of this year's Man Classic. So. But yeah, man. Yeah, Crown Jewel. Who knew that you was gonna get the pressure put on like this? Like, I was fully expecting like them to come out here and be on the boo boo with this show, but I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah,
You know.
I was hoping for. I was just sitting there thinking like, look, I don't know how much effort they're going to put into these matches. All I know is, um, the Mae Young Classic match, the NXT Women's match, and the SmackDown match. Like those are matches I knew to bank on, and they all they all they all exceeded my expectation, and then so did the rest of the card. So like this is really like one of the best feelings I've had with WWE main roster television in I don't know how long. I don't know how long. Like this was
Yeah.
like I feel right now how I felt after like Royal Rumble this year, where it's like there's so much hope. Look at all this talent. Look at how well they're booking stuff and saying things in place. Look at the star that they've made. That they just brought out Ronda Rousey. Like so, there's all these dominoes yet to fall, and there's intrigue. Like they did all this just with the women's division, where they don't even give enough run to even have a mid card. Like imagine what they did when they actually did this with the everybody when they have everybody in place for these 4 hour pay per views on a consistent basis. Like
I
pay per views have been good lately, but none of them are great. This was great. I want greatness.
yeah.
Everybody else around the world and wrestling promotions are giving us greatness. They have more talent stored than anyone else in the country or anyone else in the world. Give us greatness.
Yeah. I'm not settling for even good. Like, there's no reason for it. What up, Day Day? We actually wrapping this up shortly. I just want to let you know, James, the Red Sox won the 2018 World
I saw
Series.
that.
So yeah, you
Congratulations.
know. Yeah, that's always good to hear. I didn't watch a game this year, but that's okay. You know,
I was, I wasn't even gonna say nothing. I was gonna let it slide, and then you knew I was gonna let it slide too. You decided to out yourself. Expose yourself. Lift the covers off yourself.
hey, I don't really be watching baseball like that no more. But I grew up a Red Sox fan my whole life, so yeah. Shouts out to the Red Sox all day. So, bro, I don't even know who on the team except like David Price. Like, I don't does Pedroia still play on the team?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, bro, I have no idea. Like, I've like completely like disconnected from the sport essentially. Like, I think I wonder if Koji Uehara is still there. I'm not sure. I had to check. But like all the guys from the 2013, I pretty much left with them. David Ortiz retired. I retired. So it's crazy, man. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up the show. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Those of you that came in, and you know, appreciate it. I hope you guys all enjoyed Evolution as well as our show. Make sure if you guys want to go back and listen to our preview when we did this. It's on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We had a long conversation about Evolution and the women's division as well as Gargano. What could have made his heel turn even better? Talked a little bit about Saudi Arabia, and we answered live questions and all that. Yeah, okay. Mookie Betts, okay. David Price closed it out. Okay, yeah, man. But anything to add, James?
I mean, well, not as far as evolution, but what I will say as far as the Mookie Betts deal, like Unless they have some new type of Mookie I'm unaware of. Like I think I know who Mookie Betts is, or what at least what he looked like. So that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I don't think we had one of those in a long while as far as a World Series MVP.
Yeah, but that's gonna wrap it up. Appreciate y'all.
Later.
Peace.